Paul Morrow here, Smart Financial. Welcome back. Thanks for subscribing to the channel. If you like us on Facebook and subscribe, make sure that you get on our website and request a free copy of Smart Financial Grandparenting or one of the other books. Today, it's really important because Schwab issued a big report about the state of wealth in America. And I want to quote it and give them credit, by the way. It's called the Modern Wealth Survey by Charles Schwab. Charles Schwab's a great outfit, by the way, and a lot of nice things to say about them over the years. Well run, they have a lot of good products, and they service a lot of the folks that I know in the investment advisory business. As you know, I ran a practice for the last 50 years, which is a topic of another video about how to build a financial practice. I will tell you that we found that many people who are doing wealth management and wealth planning really want to know what the guy next door has. When you go to meet with a financial advisor, you need to understand that we see everybody's money. It's all open disclosure. So we know, but it's not polite to go to a cocktail party in your neighborhood and walk up to someone that's your age and stage and say, hey, how much money have you got? So these modern wealth surveys, and by the way, the Federal Reserve just did one too. All right, these modern wealth surveys give you an idea if you're rich enough, if you're in the right category, if you're in the right stadium, let alone in the right seat. So I'm going to give you a couple of numbers that you can use to compare to your own net worth, and if not, to take steps to get you into that right category. So wealth means a lot of different things to different people, by the way, and I will tell you that Warren Buffett was asked in a recent public meeting, I think it was their annual meeting, by a nice young lady who said, can you explain the difference between being rich and being wealthy? And Warren was very specific and very blunt, which he normally is, right? Rich has a lot to do with just money, and wealth has to do with all the rest of the things in your life, right? So you can be wealthy because you have great health and a great family and a great lifestyle. That's one thing. Being rich is just an accumulation of money. If that's your goal, that's fine. In the Modern Wealth Survey, it has to do with just the accumulation of net worth, not necessarily just dollars. So net worth is comprised of these things. All the positive things that you own in your life, your homes, your investments, all these different things, minus all the stuff that you owe to people. So give me a perfect example. Let's just say that you've got a home worth $1 million, a retirement fund worth $1 million, and a bunch of stocks worth $1 million, but you owe on your mortgage $500,000. So what's your net worth? It's $2.5 million. They just took the $3 million and they did a little simple math. $2 million of house minus $500,000. Guess what? So your net worth is $2.5 million. So where are you in the big sort of group of people that you grew up with, or the group of people that you went to college with, or the group of people that you went to grammar school with? Let's just talk about what the survey that was done by Schwab concluded. Now, what's interesting about this survey, by the way, is they went out and they actually asked people what it takes to be wealthy, or some people would say rich. What do you think it takes for a person to be wealthy in your age and stage? And I have to read these numbers because I don't want to get them wrong, but it's a very interesting survey, and it says that across the United States, the average number to be considered wealthy was now 2,500,000. Now, I know a lot of people that are in the financial business of media have been publishing numbers that say you can't retire without 5 million, and if you don't have 5 million, you're a piker and it's terrible and you have a horrible life. I mean, I don't buy it at all, by the way. Having done actual financial plans with a lot of people, which most journalists haven't, I will tell you, very, very many people retire with much less than 5 million to live wonderful lives, and a lot of it has to do with the lifestyle they built or the lifestyle they want, because a lot of wealth planning has to do with your wealth and your wants, not somebody else next door. Just because they got a new Escalade doesn't mean you have to go buy one. So I would say that a $2.5 million national number actually is pretty reasonable for this day and age. It's also geographic, and we'll talk about that a little bit. But here we go. The same question was asked in San Francisco, California. And they said to the population they surveyed, what does it take to be wealthy in San Francisco? And the number was 4.4 million. Now that I buy 100%. And if you've ever been to San Francisco, if you've ever been in New York, if you've ever been to LA, right? It's really easy to see that everything there is just so much more expensive. It's so much more competition. It's so much more valuable. In fact, half my family is Canadian and I'm in Vancouver quite a bit. And they have the same exact situation where in order to live a great lifestyle, I think $2.5 million wouldn't get you there. It's really got to be about $2 million just for your apartment or your condo or whatever. So I think there's certain geographic issues to this. But But let's keep going because I think these numbers are really interesting. Baby boomers homed in on the number 2.8 million. So if you're a boomer, which I am, and you've accumulated 2.8 million of net worth, you should be living a pretty good life. That is, unless you live in San Francisco or New York or LA. Let's just exclude those places. And 2.8 million is not an unreasonable number. Now also, if you happen to be a Gen Xer, somebody who's about turned 60, about to head into retirement, their number's pretty close. It's 2.7 million. And I do think that if you're about to land the airplane, you're circling the airport, you're ready to land at retirement, that extra 100,000 is going to be a layup for you to accumulate, either by just postponing maybe 6 months of Social Security, investing for a little bit longer. So you can add 5% to your portfolio really easy and jack that thing up to 2.8 million. Now, here's what's really interesting. When you work your way down through the ages and you drop down to a millennial, now a millennial is someone who's in their 40s or 50s, and they are not quite in that pre-retirement zone. They consider 2.2 million to be wealthy in their age and their stage. Now, keep in mind, they are not at that tipping point of retirement. They've got like 10 years to go. So a $2.2 million net worth for a millennial could easily roll up to $3.5 million by retirement. So I think that's okay. That's an okay number. The one that really shocked me, though, and I think that makes a lot of sense, is if you're a Gen Xer, they consider $1.2 million wealthy, and they have the most time. Now, if you've got $1.2 million and you're a Gen Xer, you've got all the time in the world to roll up money, right? So that when you get to retirement, you'll probably have in excess of $3 million. These are really important numbers which come out of the Schwab survey, and it rolls right into our book that's coming out on smart financial wealth building, because there's about 8 ways to build wealth in America, and you don't have to invent the next great piece of software, and you don't have to be a VC guy betting everything on the red in Silicon Valley. I mean, you could actually accumulate a lot of money just by getting a great job, going to work at a great company, pick one of the Fortune 1000 companies that has stock options and RSUs, restricted stock units, all these things, so you can accumulate a lot of wealth. In fact, I will tell you, the way things are going in America right now, you can also accumulate with a lot of money if you have a trade and you're good with your hands and you join one of the good unions. And I won't get into which ones are the bad ones, but I would say that in our practice, we see people showing up at retirement who join a union. They literally pay their dues and they become an apprentice. They stick in the union. They earn a great living over their lifetimes. They never think about investing. The day that they hang up their boots, they hang up their tool belt, they stop doing their work, and they get their check from their union. These checks are very, very substantial, way in excess of $1 million for a lot of them, and some of them close to $2 million for their annuity that they get from the union for retirement. You can build wealth in all these different categories. If you happen to be a Gen Xer and you've got a lot of time to go, you have a lot of great choices. Now, if you happen to be that person that I was talking about, who's a baby boomer, and you have 2.8 million, you're going to live a comfortable retirement. You might not be buying private jets. You might not be buying a Rolls-Royce Corniche to drive around in, but you will be able to buy that $25,000 toy that we talked about in the video about classic cars. You might even be able to take your wife on some pretty nice vacations if you're married. I would say that a $2.8 million number is very reasonable. Don't let people in the financial world spook you into thinking that everybody needs to have $5 million. I kind of think that's a plot by the mutual fund companies and the investment firms to get you to jam more money into the portfolios, because frankly, folks, that's how they make a living. I'm Paul Morrow. This is Smart Financial. Let's keep it with perspective, right? Are you rich enough? If your numbers are in this time zone that we just read to you, you are not only rich enough, I would say that you're wealthy enough to have a great retirement life. And that's just the art of being smart. I'll see you again next time on Smart Financial.